What is good? What is good? Happy Monday, Dre, Millie, Shadow, everybody else. How are y'all doing?
Back up in this motherfucker
We
like whoa.
are we are
Oh,
unpacking.
you already know. I am literally setting up all my shit in the office too today, Shadow. So I'm right there with you, except it's just one desk and you have a whole house. So
Yeah, I will.
you know what I mean?
I thought I might as well go ahead and start on the PC now. So I'm trying to find the box that says computer stuff so I can move it into this office.
It's in the very back of the U-Haul. Like you guys loaded it in first, but forgot that you'd put the whole house in after it. So
Well, I guess I'm going to a U-Haul tonight after hours, breaking and entering.
what up, Dre, Millie? How's your day, man?
It's been a good day, man, for real. Action packed, a lot of meetings, a lot of great discoveries. It's a new moon tonight, so the energy has been flowing as such. It's been a good day. Usually, every Monday, I used to jump on and listen to the homies from EYL do their live podcast on YouTube called Market Mondays. And they speak about what's happening within the market, whether it's crypto or stocks. And I used to watch that religiously every Monday. And then we started doing Bad Take. Life got ahead of me, and I got away from all of that. And today I jumped back into it and had the opportunity to check it out again. So it was bringing up a lot of good memories I have from working with them and just getting the energy flowing in a positive place. So it's been a good one, man, for real. Highly highly thoughtful and highly thoughtful and introspectical. Is that a word? Yeah,
Introspective,
yeah, yeah,
maybe?
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah. We're gonna run with that one. Yeah, it's been one of those, man. So it's been a good one. How about you?
bro. It's been good, dude. Just trying to finish up this garage. I ended up getting this Murakami flower like rug chair mat type thing. Probably return it, but I wanted to see it in person. But I'm gonna run a new data line out to the office. I think that it actually, I don't know, dude. Sometimes just getting some shit done around your place is motivating, right? Sometimes just getting stuff marked off the checklist is motivating. Shadow's got a lot of that coming up. Just
Yeah,
like marking off projects, bro, is huge for me. I'm gonna be honest.
Feels like a lot
we're
of clearing of energies happening, right? Shadow's moving, so he's starting off a new home base with a brand new energy for him. You're creating your space with a new energy behind it. I've been doing the same thing around the house, just clearing up spaces and clearing energy out. That's crazy, though.
yeah, for
I
me.
When
love
you
it.
say, go ahead, Shadow.
No, I was gonna say for me. I mean, I'm on vacation, so we're gonna just do this nice and easy. My wife, unfortunately, she went from one job and then had a weekend off, and now she is at a brand new job. So today was her first day, and that went great. So I luckily I work from home, so I'll just be at the same job.
No, yeah, that's nice to hear, bro. Wait, so Dre, when you came in, you said something about a new moon, and I thought it was a full moon that made people go crazy. Is it, or is it a new moon? Is that why everybody's acting all wild on the timeline and shit?
No, well, full moons carry energy that usually correlate with chaos, right? Because things are changing and our bodies react to the lunar cycles just like rising tides do as well, due to the amount of water that's in the human body. So it goes along with full moons being the one that people usually act a fool. Hence the story of like werewolves and all of that, because it was like symbolic to the changing of someone due to the lunar cycle. But the new moon is usually what astrologers utilize to release energy. So they focus on the things that they want to change and let go of with the lunar cycle. So to answer your question, no, it's not the one where people usually go nuts. That's full moon. New moon is more like introspective, being in the house, clearing your space, allowing the energy to flow, and allowing the new, the old to go out and the new to come in.
Gotcha. I was trying to figure out or place something on the fact that I'm noticing a lot of people on the timeline just like getting restless with Web3 or NFTs. They're getting like impatient. They're get like I'm just trying to figure out, is it just the space in general? So you know what I've seen a lot of volume posts today. People talking about the 1 day volume in like 2021 or 2022 is more than a 24-hour volume now.
Yeah,
Just restlessness across the
it
space.
is
I think
definitely,
the silence is killing people.
yeah, it is
There
definitely,
haven't been anything.
it's definitely impatience, man. I mean, these people have never been a part of a new frontier before. Luckily for me, my new frontier wasn't in marketplaces or anything like that, but I know what it's like to be a part of something or a program that takes more than just a couple of years to really find its like heading. You know, it takes like 4 or 5 years, and then you finally have a baseline, and then people kind of understand what you're all about, what you're trying to do. You have your heading, and then now you're actually finally going on the journey. And we're only in like what some people would say year three, others would say year four. So yeah, man, we're still trying to figure things out, but people are definitely restless for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. Subscribe. What were you saying? Just quiet, like quiet across the space? Like there's nobody
I
really
think
doing anything big right now.
there's a couple things. It's like it's staying flat right now, but what's going on is like you see certain things hitting the bottom. I've been mentioning it in the chat, like, oh, this just hit the bottom, that just hit the bottom. But honestly, it's like everything is kind of going flat, and people are getting restless because of how quiet it is. We haven't seen much news lately, like the whole Elon Zuck thing, kind of like it was fun to talk about, but honestly, there's nothing going on that people can talk about. So it's just people getting pissed because nothing is going on, and I don't know. Maybe they need another bull run. You saw what happened with the bull run that kind of happened. Bitcoin went up to 30. I still think it's gonna crash to 9,000, but that's just me.
I'm convinced that the majority of Web3 and NFT Twitter, like an 80%, 90% are gamblers. And when they're not getting like endorphin hits from some new min or from something, like you could really sense it. Like people start to like create and cause drama. They get a little restless. They're just not getting those endorphin hits. And we're in a bear, like this kind of bear, you ain't gonna get the endorphin hits. The most endorphins I had was getting a free X key today. That's about the most endorphins I had in a while. But it don't stress me out. But I can sense it on other people when they're like stressing because shit's not going on in the space. Like now, I guess the next thing to look forward to for most of the space is Ape Fest, is the most recent announcement from the Board Ape Yacht Club, because now the Azuki thing's over. Everybody's just like, okay, what do we do with our hands? We just standing around now. Like, give us something to get all crazy about.
I think I
What's
think
up,
that's
guys? Go ahead. Go ahead.
what we're going through now is the aftermath of the settling of everything that happened with the Azuki project since Vegas. Because it's been 2 weeks now, 3 weeks. It's hard to keep track, but
That was coming though. I don't
Bro,
know. That was coming.
but
yeah,
do y'all not understand? Like, I'm glad that you just said that. The fact that it was, I think it was like more like 3 weeks ago now, but the fact that it hasn't even been a month. You see how fast this stuff goes, man? After a couple of weeks, it seems like it was forever ago, but really, it wasn't even a month ago. That's the craziest part about this whole NFT crypto thing
Web3
is the
space,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, time moves so fast. A week is really like half a year.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to keep track of the timing because it seems like it was a month ago, but it hasn't been a month ago, right? But I think what we're going through now, the sentiment that we are going through as a space, is just the result of that. people seeing that the stable coin that Azuki once was is truly not. I think that, I guess, quote unquote, being unpegged, for lack of better terms, showcased to everyone who weren't in a project that had utility behind it, that the whole JPEG PFP meta is over, and you can't just mint animal or any type of JPEG and think it's going to retain value just because it's going to retain value. Like, it has to be something behind it, and that realization is now fluctuating throughout the space, and that's causing all these somber energies because a lot of people got wrecked with that, man. Azuki pulled the plug, and it really got a lot of people down, and now, they're scrambling and going through the somber emotional shifts that come along with that realization. And that's, I think, part of what people are searching for when you talk about that dopamine hit, comp. Like, nothing is really showcasing and stepping up. Like, everybody's saying the same thing. Subscribe saying that it's not really anything happening right now. That's true too. Since there's not anything happening and everybody's getting used to realizing, like, damn, what is this space really about? Now we're having the results of those thought processes come through an emotional post and outbursts.
So they had the highest of highs, coming off the highest of highs, and then going into some lowest lows, and now they're finding like the space is finding like this bottom area with no news, no endorphin hits, and you can see, you can start to sense that people are restless, right? Um, what's up, Shadow?
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna be trying to keep up with the conversation and figure out what plug goes to what. I should have took a picture of all this junk. But no, I wanted to talk about what Dre Millie was talking about. It is, I think, the only reason why, and I think Azuki's is going to be fine long term, just so everyone knows. But I think the only reason why it hit them so hard, or their community so hard, is because they did come off of their highest of high, right? And now they're at the lowest. I think they went lower than when the Zagabond FUD was happening. Um, and so to me, I mean, it was cool to see a project kind of unaffected by the bear market, but I guess maybe it's a different opinions if you're in the project and you paid X amount of money. But someone who's outside of the project, now everything across the board, in my opinion, looks like what I would expect for things to look like for a bear market. But then we go into what happens next. What did we learn from the last bull run? What worked? What did not work? And I think a couple of Sundays ago, they had a space that was trying to get to that point where the communities as a whole, because it was everybody from all different types of communities, right? As a whole, we're trying to figure out where do we go from here? Our PFP is just dead. I truly believe that everything has to innovate in Web3. If you're not constantly innovating, you're going to be left behind. And as cutthroat as that sounds, I really do believe that's how this is going to work. You have to constantly be innovating and pushing the boundary. For instance, let me say it like this: you have to be like an Apple was like back in the 90s. Apple was constantly trying to push the envelope. What can we do that nobody else is doing? They were pushing that bar every single time they came on stage. They had something new that nobody else was talking about that was going to push the boundary. They're still doing it to this day with Vision Pro. So as NFTs, you can look cool, and that's cool. You can be funny, and that's funny. You can look cute, and you look cute. But what are you doing? If you're not doing anything, I believe eventually, maybe not right now, but eventually the masses as a whole are going to leave you behind for somebody that is innovating and are breaking the mold and pushing this NFT forward. Because NFTs aren't dead, but PFP NFTs are definitely dead for sure.
Yeah, that's a real good take, actually, bro. As I was over here thinking similar. It right now in this market, the people that are left are the people who have figured out how to be somewhat smart with their money. There's still some crazy people out here that are gonna just spend money on anything. But the PFP projects launching now if they would have launched in the bull, they would have like gone through the roof, blown the fuck up. Now is a different market. Now you can't just launch 10,000 PFPs with no game plan or business model or any kind of like roadmap that says how you're going to take those PFPs, build a brand behind them, build a business behind it, and like expect to sell out. Like this a lot of these things, like Ether, the art is awesome. That shit would have blown up in the bull market, but in this bear is a different market. It's just, it doesn't work the same now as it did then. And I think we've seen so many showcases now of recent launches that have just not done what would have happened 2 years ago. I think I think the time to adjust fire is now, or should have already been adjusting fire. But let's hear what Subscribe's got to say.
Man, Apple. I think it's not even about use case scenario. It's more finding reason, and I think that's kind of why Dre is cleaning the house and you're fixing up the house. Comes back to brick and mortar and really finding the reason of why we're in Web3. And you're like, okay, go back to what is so important in our lives, and that requires your environment to be clean. It requires your environment to be useful. It requires the things you use to be useful. And it's like, why do we have this PFP? Well, we created a community already. Now what? Like, how can we use this? And the next bull run, we won't be purchasing just random PFPs. We already got the communities. Now it's like, how can we apply this in our real life? And I feel like that's where the money is gonna go. I don't know, man. Comes back to how Apple is, like, how useful this small piece of equipment is, right? I don't know.
How many people get into PFP projects and their main reason is to have real world brick and mortar utility outside of maybe the community events. Other than, like, I think the majority of people are getting into or were buying PFP projects on pure speculation, right? They're always buying it. They say eventually, like, oh, I'm here for the community. But initially they're speculating. And there could be a market for, there probably is a market for community based, like a community token. Basically, it's PF. Okay, let me rephrase this. So basically, what a lot of the PFP projects have become are community memberships. It's a membership token almost. It's a community membership, because a lot of the projects have yet to figure out what the real world utility is and like what product they're selling, how they're making revenue, how they're making money. So at the base level, all of these things are membership tokens. There's a membership to a community that grants you access to things that they're doing, maybe drops that they have, shit like that. I don't think, we're not in a market anymore where that's the utility. Like, you can't just have that anymore. You got to have more than that. Otherwise, things trend downward, in my opinion. So after launch, I mean, what's up, Jack?
I got to give it up to Subscribe for having one of the best takes I've ever heard this man have the entire 7 months that we've been here. Like, that shit almost brought a tear to my eye because it made so much sense. He was spitting some bars. That was all facts, man. That's real. That's so real. Subscribe. Bring this Subscribe back every time you come back,
Hey,
bro. That's
yeah,
the homie right there.
this whole time, I'm like, I've been thinking to myself as I'm opening these boxes, I'm like, oh, so Subscribe, he just plays crazy, but he actually really smart. That makes sense. Keep him on your
Bruh.
Yeah.
toes. Gotta keep him on the toes.
All at all times. I said, who is this man that is speaking right now, dropping these bars? And it's the homie. Please come back. You are more than welcome. That was amazing. So, and you're absolutely correct, man. Like, energetically speaking, everything that's coming through this sector right now, I think, and not to sound like an artifact maxi, I guess I always sound like that anyway, but we've been through that. We've been through where they're currently going through, where 2/3 of this sector is going through right now. This situation, we've already been through it 7 months ago. So we know how to adjust and handle these emotions that come along with these thought processes of, what are we doing here? What is this about? What is it really going to do? Is it going to carry out the way that they're talking about? Like, what have I been investing my time into? Right? We learned all of that back in December and January. And now I think a lot of the people who were just dealing with JPEGs and speculation are at that place where they're like, damn, what is life? What is this? What is this about? What am I going to do? And I think a lot of them, communities, when I say them, they don't have that answer. So shit is getting really somber. And it sucks to be in that position, to feel like you're just floating around, right? It's like finding out that the person that you've been with for X amount of time isn't the real person that you thought they were. They're not coming through with all of the promises that they said they would have. You find out so much stuff about them that is making you rethink the relationship period. And it sucks to be in that position, but so is life. So the people who will make it to the next bull market are the ones who have that utility. Just like Subscribe said, it's going to be the kickoff for that. It's so interesting right now watching Thread Guy go through his situation with Jack Butcher and how they putting them numbers based off of what he's doing is amazing to me, because honestly, that's showcasing a utility. And Thread Guy isn't depending on any other community to showcase that utility. He's creating it himself and leading the front running of that thought process. It's just a really dope time, in my opinion, a really dope transit from one place to another. And I think it's going to all work out for the best in the end, but peaks and valleys, and we're just going through the low parts for a lot of people right now.
I told y'all Subscribe was smart as hell. He keeps everybody on his toes. I'm telling you, I'm in group chats with him, and this guy drops so much knowledge. He's just got to make sure you never know his next move. That's how he rolls.
Yo, I'm not sure if everyone's religious or anything, but it's funny because in the beginning of the Bible, it says, at first there was the word, but the word is actually the word logos. And the word logos actually means the word, logic, and reason. So if you think about how important this word is, it's like how logical it is. What's the reason for us being in here? It's crazy because it always goes back to that. Like, what is the reason for us to, live this way, to even have a life, or even it comes back to like Web3 in general. Like, why are we here? Like,
Hey, bro.
what is the reason? What is the purpose of this, right?
Hey, bro. What translation Bible you reading, bro? Because I done read this Bible so many times. It ain't never said that. I need that Bible,
In the
bro.
beginning, it says at first there was the word, right, and the word was the Lord. Something in that kind of
Hey,
sense.
Subscribe. Yesterday was
But the
Sunday, bro.
word is actually the word logos in another language. I'm not sure what language, but it's the word logos, and logos actually means the word, logic, and reason. So kind of like aloha means hello, goodbye, and I love you. There's like three meanings in one word. So same thing like that.
Hey, man, I'm about to pop in bed and be like, hey, you know what the first word in the Bible is? Watch me.
Yo, let's reset the room. I want to talk about what Dre just said. He's talked about Thread Guy and Jack Butcher. Jack Butcher launching an open edition, $2 per mint, and it made something like $60,000 so far. That all went to Thread Guy, right? Thread Guy provides a ton of value to the space, in my opinion, but he's also catching a lot of flack. So I want to talk about the ethics of this. Like, it's marketing in a sense, right? Every other industry does marketing. They do collabs. They market in a way. But for some reason in Web3, if you do a collab that markets something, is selling a $2 product or PFP, and someone like Thread Guy makes money from it, like he's catching heat as an influencer, he's catching heat. Is shilling and marketing, are they not just the same thing? Or it's like almost the same kind of shit? I don't know. I want to get everybody's take on how you guys feel about it. If you don't know the whole story, Jack Butcher gave Thread Guy a 1 of 1 PFP if he changed his PFP for 3 months, and then he could go back to his mutant ape, and then he got to keep the PFP. And then he launched an open edition for $2 mint, and it helped to pay Thread Guy some kind of salary. He's been doing this shit for a couple of years for free, and but he's catching a lot of heat, like an influencer shilling something and making a bag off of it. And I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle right now. I'm like, I see it as just it's kind of marketing. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Honestly, I don't think we're going through this transition, right? Everybody or a lot of the people, 9 out of 10 people who came to the space, they came to try to make some type of money, right? They were brought in because they saw that the space was quote unquote easy to generate high returns on low investments. And that's what it was built on, similar to DeFi Summer, right? And of course, just like DeFi Summer, things evolved and the space is no longer that. Those rules, I say that to say, those rules that people applied to the space at that time, saying, oh, you're shilling this project, boo you, that's whack, you rah, 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 I'm upset about that. I get it at that point because it could have been misleading. It could have been something that, you know, completely wrecked other people and left them in a bad position. So I understand people being upset about that at that point. Now, where we are and where things are currently evolving to, like I said, with PFPs no longer truly being the meta, I don't think what he's doing, what Thread Guy's doing, is wrong. It looks like he reacted to not being selected for the DAO, and he pivoted to make a better decision for himself. He invested into a community where he thought that community would invest into him. He felt like it didn't, and he made the best decision for him at that point. I can applaud that. If you pour your heart and soul into a community and you don't feel like you're getting the reciprocity that you're looking for as an individual of that community, you have to make a pivot, right? Like this is similar to the conversation that we were having in the group chat yesterday. When people feel like they feel some type of way about maybe how things are going, it's a simple solution to me. If you don't like the relationship that you're in, you change it. You do what you have to do to switch it up and create a new relationship or walk away from that relationship. If it's not fulfilling what you're looking to be or have fulfilled within that relationship, you have to be strong enough to cut the cord, make a pivot, and keep rolling. You can't sit there and yell at the person or the people that you're in a relationship with, like, why aren't you doing this for me? Like, no, that makes no sense. Create it for yourself. And that's exactly what he did. He created it for himself. And now he's creating a new path in this sector, which I think is courageous within itself. A lot of people don't necessarily have the gall or the strength or the courage or the confidence to even put themselves out there to do this. They depend on that PFP and those communities so much. Hence, going back to the conversation we were speaking about earlier, where people now feel lost because they're looking for those communities to pick up the pieces that have been dropped. And those community leaders are looking at them with the Kanye shrug. Like, hey, I don't know what to tell you. Here comes another PFP soon. So, to answer your question, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, man. I think he's creating a new path, starting a new chapter in this book we call Web3.
I don't know what. I agree, man. I am. That's the way I'm leaning as well. I don't know what the cost of the 101 would be from Jack Butcher, but we've talked about this in the past. In a sense, at the base level, taking something that is worth money and then changing your PFP or talking about like you're in a sense you're promoting it, right? And there should be nothing wrong with taking advertisements or promoting. If he's done his due diligence on Jack Butcher and the project, why not take the opportunity to make some money, right? Like if you're gonna do some kind of promotion for anything, I think if you've done your due diligence and the project is on the level of that, like Jack Butcher and that project, I think it's fine. And then so he took the PFP. He's rocking it as a PFP in a sense. That's marketing, right? He's showing off the PFP, the art, the whole thing. It's all marketing. Now with the open edition, again, I don't see anything wrong with the offer of an open edition for $2 and his supporters and his followers paying $2 each for these open editions. In a sense, they're getting to support somebody who they feel like they want to support, and they're receiving art in return, right? Like, but for some reason in this space, this kind of shit gets FUD, whereas in any other industry, it's completely normal practice, right? To either pay influencers or pay for marketing services or pay for all of this. This is all just normal stuff. It just looks different in this space. But I was reading the comments and I was just blown away with the amount of hate that people were putting on it. Like, I just didn't understand. I mean, I understand what they're saying, but like, it almost seems like we're out of touch. Like, as soon as you enter Web3, you're no longer allowed to provide for your life or your family by by doing any kind of marketing in a sense. And I'm like in no way, shape, or form an influencer on the level of Thread Guy, but he's been killing it in this space and he's provided a ton of value to this space. And this is the first time, other than Jenkins the valet, that I've seen him take any kind of financial incentive to do any kind of promotion. And it's fucking Jack Butcher, right? Like, and Beeple's doing shit with him. So like like, I respect it. I just saw all the hate and I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to see some other opinions. I might be blinded, and anybody else who has a different opinion, let me know.
Why are we
Yeah, I just
talking about
want to
this
jump.
now?
Oh,
What's up?
Why are we talk? Alex been doing that for Mutant Apes, but it's just behind the scene. Like, he's not very vocal about it, and there's other people that have been, taking PFPs and getting paid behind the back scene. Maybe Well got probably paid with Azuki. I'm not sure, but
Well, no, they gave Will and Azuki to be an Azuki thread writer, but to from what I know, Jack didn't pay Thread Guy. He created an open mint that goes to him, so he's not necessarily paying him. He's putting an open mint out there to have the community react. And if the community didn't buy them, he wouldn't get shit. He wouldn't get jack shit, pun intended. Ah, that was a bar. But the fact that the community is responding to it, that's what I'm saying. I can't be mad at it. I think it would be a different vein if it was like Jack was paying him X amount of ETH to do these things, right? And that would be to a certain extent because he did receive other offers from different projects to do things specifically for and with them and with a price tag attached to it. And he turned that down. But the fact that he said, I'm gonna start this new chapter with you, Jack. And Jack said, according to Thread Guy, Jack said, okay, cool, let's do it. And then after they switched the PFP, Jack came back and said, hey, I'm gonna do this open mint for you. Here you go, and put it out for the community to support. And the people supported it. So again, going to what I'm saying before, he deserved it, man. He put the time, energy, and effort in. He looked to the community that he was rocking with. He gave them the opportunity saying, hey, I want to do this with y'all. What can we do? And he got no response. So he backed away, pivoted, and now he's creating a new chapter they can go anywhere with this, right? Like Compound said, they have Beeple creating his everyday NFTs based off his everyday artwork based off of what's happening in the culture. Like that's a major fucking win, man. That's a major play, especially coming from an individual without anyone else necessarily behind him or a powerhouse blue chip NFT behind him. That's a major play, and it also switches the sentiment of where the sector could go and how an influencer or individuals could affect it. That's dope as fuck to me.
Shadow, what's good, man?
yeah, actually, this is my first time hearing about the situation. I've been moving, so I haven't really been in the Twitter threads. But just hearing all of that, that goes back to kind of what I've always thought from the beginning, which is before I even jumped in OpenSea, the main reason why I kind of stayed away is because, well, if I'm being honest, one, the prices was too damn high. But other than that, it was basically because it seemed like the value sometimes with the people when it was just PFPs. I know we're innovating and we got groups that are doing more than just PFPs. But back when it was just PFPs, the floor price of your PFP depended on a few things: what famous person is rocking it, what famous Twitter, social media person, what influencers was a part of that group. And if you had like a bunch of A-listers, like, I'm just gonna just make up something like, let's just say Samsung came out in NFT, right? And if you had a bunch of people with just Samsung NFTs, right? And you were looking for an NFT to join into, and you were like, I got enough money for this one or that one, but this one has Justin Bieber, this one has Snoop Dogg, has Thread Guy. You attach kind of like the value of your NFT to these people. You're depending on these people. When these people start doing things for themselves, that is going to affect your bottom line in a certain way. And with NFTs the way that they are right now, I can see that there's a bunch of people down. I don't even know what NFT Thread Guy normally wears, but the only thing that I'm thinking of is why would they be upset? Because everyone knows that an influencer, they're free to do whatever they want. Sometimes they tell you up front, sometimes they don't. I mean, it's 100% up to them, in my opinion. If the real problem is people who are choosing to buy, sell, and trade depending on what one person or a few people say. If you don't do your own research, I mean, at the end of the day, that's 100% your fault. But I think the reason why there's a lot of people that probably didn't like that is because he probably had a major NFT, and now that's one less person rocking the NFT that you're a part of, right? That's like us coming in here and compounds like, yo, I'm gonna be rocking this blue slime for a year. I'm still part of the group, but everywhere he goes, people are like, "Oh, what is that NFT? Is that?" They're not asking what kind of clone anymore. So if I had 95 clones and I needed them to at least 2x from here, and we're already losing a cornerstone member because he wants to do his own thing, I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck, bro? Like, I need more people wearing this shit so I can break even or whatever it is." It always comes down to money, in my opinion. Now, I can be completely wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. I can be completely wrong on this. But a lot of people attach themselves to their NFT based off of what other people are doing, and they depend on you to be a quote unquote leader or a focal point or a cornerstone within that community. And if people start changing their PFPs and your project is all about PFPs and you're not doing anything else, well, then what the fuck am I doing holding these PFPs? Nobody notable is showing their face with a PFP that they will go and look at the floor to try to get one. And I can put one of mine on the floor and then now they're buying from me. So in a way, Thread Guy is working to my benefit. But as soon as he changes his PFP, he's no longer working for my benefit anymore. So I feel some type of way. That's kind of how my brain takes that information. But like I said, I can be completely wrong, but that's just my take.
No, it's a really good take. These in a sense, all of these PFPs in here is a single advertising slot for whatever you're rocking. Like, yeah, it very much is so. Third guy was rocking a mutant ape, and he had it for about two and a half years. He's had it for a while, 2.5 years. I don't think he's ever taken any kind of compensation, marketing, anything. He's never changed his PFP, and so this is the first time. And I see your point. You're saying is he could be catching FUD from other Bored Ape Yacht Club or Mutant Ape Yacht Club members for changing his PFP because it no longer benefits their bags. I could see that. I don't think I saw a lot of that community. Like, I mean, maybe there was, but I don't think that community is going to give the dude shit for that. I was seeing it from random people, and it almost seemed like it was coming from a place of like you're like hating because just people being haters is just how it is in this space. But yeah, no, you make an amazing point, Shadow. These are advertising slots, man, and they, if you really think about it, and you're repping the projects you feel like you most connect with, and maybe the PFP you most connect with, and when people ask you about it, you end up talking about that project, and you could see that that was Jack's whole idea, right? Like, let's get his PFP changed. They're gonna start. It's gonna cause this big old thing. People are gonna be talking about it. It's exactly what it is. But I think the FUD is coming from people that are jealous or just being haters in general, man.
100%. Tons of. If you read the comments of what they're saying, it's like, why does he deserve all of this ETH? And it's nothing about the moves that he made, or nothing about the work he put in. So why does he deserve? He doesn't deserve this. He's just a grifter. It's like, damn, like that to me, that's just hate. Because if you're sitting there worried about somebody's financial situation in life, and that's the first thing you speak about, that's coming from a hating position. You should be happy that someone has the potential and opportunity to even experience this in their lifetime, regardless, right? Like, especially if it's not done in a malicious way. If dude hasn't stole anything or created a you get nothing .eth and you know what I mean, and sitting there finessing people, then it shouldn't be an issue. That's my opinion. That's just straight up hate.
And I'm not cutting subscribe. I just seriously got to ask this question because I don't know. What does grifter mean? Like, what does that mean? I have an idea what it means, but what does that actually mean? Because that's
You're
another
asking
NFT
me or
term
you
I haven't
asking
heard.
Compound?
No, I'm asking anybody. I don't know what
He asked
grifter
to
means.
subscribe. Subscribe is giving definitions of words today. Go ahead,
I think there's
subscribe.
an
You got
actual
this.
definition for it. I'm not quite too sure the real definition, but to me, grifters are, you know, using. I don't know how to explain it.
Because
I
I view it as a drifter. You know what I mean?
I,
But
I,
that
I
could
don't know
be
the
something
actual
different.
definition of it. I don't know.
Let me jump
Uh,
in. You know what's wild is my mom was here with me last
like,
week,
where did
and
the origin come from?
she brought up the word grifter. Like, he's a grifter. I was like, what the fuck? How you know about a grifter? But I think it's this person of people who it's similar to a drifter. People who move around from project to project, opportunity to opportunity. They speak it up when they have the chance to speak about it because it helps and benefits them. But as soon as it doesn't help or benefit them, they move away and go to the next one. So that's like,
Here's the
in
real
my mind, a
definition.
grifter.
It's a small swing swindling is what it is.
like
That's
a
I mean
finesse,
that's a true definition.
someone who's fake
Swindler.
finesse money or
Swindler.
scam. Like in my mind, it's someone here who is here with the intentions of finessing or scamming people from out of their money by promising them some big shit and not delivering. I don't know. So that's the way that I use it. I use it as like a finesse or a scammer. But there's probably a real world term for it. A little different in Web3. What's up, Rupsy? I'm sorry, bro.
No. Let subscribe go. You had your hand up. You were gonna say something, and then you answered
Oh,
Shadow's question.
I
So
don't know. Something wrong with the moon. I'm going with the grain this time. But what was I gonna say? I think that this is a good move for Web3. Honestly, you think about like celebrities and how much they get paid just to wear something like Balenciaga or Nike or Adidas. They pay them a lot of money just for a single picture to advertise, and so far in Web3, people been paid just with a PFP. And what do you think about a PFP? It's literally it costs nothing. You know, it's a freaking picture. It's a JPEG that people put a price to it. Right? It's non fungible. So the way I think about it, it's a good way to show solidity in Web3. You know, somebody actually getting paid, because how much people been working here and haven't been getting paid by these devs, or been doing like these things, getting the nudge nudge from people, and like, man, when I'm getting paid, like what I'm getting out of this, I'm doing all this work and I'm not getting paid. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, you make a good point, man. And I was telling Dre it's a super brilliant marketing strategy, right? Because there's almost a zero cost for Jack, but he's able to zero cost for Jack, but he's able to help out somebody who's provided a ton of value to the space, and almost a $0 marketing cost, right? So you make a really like it was a smart move on his part, but it was also for a good reason. It's a good, in my opinion, that's a great point of subscribe. Yo, he's on it tonight, bro.
Bruh.
Killing it tonight. Subscribe. Rubsy, what's up, bro?
yeah, it was good. No, I've been out of the loop past couple days. I've been traveling, dealing with family stuff, and you know. But so I haven't really like been seeing what's going on. But one thing, like just kind of popping into Twitter here and there when I have the time over the past like day, really, I've noticed all this OPEPin shit, and I didn't know that these OPEPin like PFPs had anything to do with Thread Guy because I don't follow Thread Guy. I'm just not for any reason. I just don't, and I probably will now. But I he's making noise because my whole timeline was full of OPEP and stuff, right? and it had everything to do with Thread Guy. Now that I know what's happening, that it has to do with him. And from what I do know about Thread Guy, or not Thread Guy, or whatever the hell his name is, like dudes, like his spaces are fire, right? Like it's always like live and fun and energetic. I can see, in no shade, but I can see how Compound kind of likes to, listen to his spaces and join them, and I understand where the energy comes from. I think it's very much needed. And I like how Compound puts together his own energy, but also is able to see what's working with Thread Guy. Anyway, I say all that to say that I think what he's doing, from what I understand, there's nothing wrong with any of that, man. Like, why, who has a problem with getting paid to do some work? Like, when did that become an issue? Like just because you change your PFP, like that's a fucking problem now? Like I don't understand that. If any one of you were to change your PFP, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. Like I don't give a damn. Like it doesn't change who you are, right? You're still a dope person. I still know who you are. So then what does a fucking photo have to do with anything? I don't understand this. This is childish petty bullshit. If this man's getting paid to do a service, or whether he's getting paid or whether he's getting a mint or whatever it is, he's doing a service. There's a contractual, like there's a contractual obligation involved. When did
Yo,
that become an
Rusty,
issue?
really quickly, there's no contractual obligation. Imagine
Well,
like
even
you
better,
made a T-shirt for me, right? And then you just sent the mint funds to me. That's all it is, bro. It's
even better.
literally
So
like someone
where's the
showing
fucking problem?
appreciation. Bro, I'll tell you where the problem is. In this space, people want to have an issue with everything. Like absolutely fucking everything. They can wake up in the morning, fucking have $1 million on their table. They're still gonna watch another person's plate. That's the craziest shit I've ever seen. That's why I'm like so guarded with my wallets and shit. Cause like even the other day, I sent somebody some money for a commission. Then this motherfucker goes and pastes my wallet into the chat. People are like, oh, you could go buy a Spirit Azuki right now. I'm like, can I? Do you know where I got that money from, man? Like, you guys are fucking tripping right now, bro. Like, that
So
money
let
is
me get this
business money.
straight.
It doesn't belong to me.
So like Web3, like crypto Twitter been crying NFTs are dead, NFTs are dead. No, like we're not making any fucking noise in NFTs. It's all dead. It's all over, right? And here comes Thread Guy. And my whole timeline, who I don't follow this dude. I don't follow none of this shit. And my whole timeline's full of Opepin and Thread Guy. And like, but yet, so this dude makes some noise when everybody's screaming, it's all dead, it's all over. This man's making noise, making a little bit of money, and people got a problem with it. That is
I think
insane
Pip
to me.
in general.
People just the other bro. It's what it is, and oh, bro, this is. Oh, we'll circle back. How do we start this whole conversation? We started with
Bro, that's why I hope the Animus Mint is fucking 5 ETH. So they could see fucking Artifact win and me laugh and mint that shit out, bro. Because, yo, this is the thing. They see people raise money. What do you think they're going to do with it? They're building fucking businesses, you fucking clowns. You're not fucking investors. You don't have a seat at the table. Just fucking relax, man. Let it fucking happen. If you didn't have the money to do it, don't do it, man. It's just that simple.
And
But they'll keep fucking fighting the real shit, bro.
here's the other thing:
That's
is
it.
like
Yo,
if somebody has like a PFP, you're worried about, oh, they're gonna jump ship or whatever, and blah blah blah. Hey, I remember like Bad Take just a couple days ago. Like we had shared the fact that he was looking for a new PFP in Bad Take, and we're trying to get this dude right. So like we were trying to get him, like because we understand what it means to have somebody like that represent Artifact. Like why not, bro? Like yes, we want you on the team, bro. Like if you listening, man, buy a damn clone. You ain't even got to put it on the PFP. Just buy that bitch, bro. Like we with you, we rock with you, bro. I fuck with you.
yo, Rupsy. So if you buy a stock of Apple, that means you own the company, right? Or
Absolutely, I'm a fucking
you're at the
owner.
seat.
I'm the
Exactly. So
CEO
guess
now.
what? You you make more money holding that iPhone than buying these stocks. So that's exactly what this is. We're holding an iPhone, but it's really a PFP.
I just don't understand when it became an issue to make some money in an honest way, to build a foundation have a following, do it from the ground up, actually put in the time and the work, get in the spaces, do the actual labor, the real shit that it really takes to engage, and then act like really get paid from it. Damn, that's a shame that somebody actually did that. Fuck.
Well,
Bro,
see,
if
that's
you've
the thing.
seen,
He didn't get paid for. He got blessed, gifted is a better term for it. He got gifted a mint for him making a decision to change his PFP to a certain community's PFP. That's it. They didn't say, yo, if you do this, I'm going to give you this. He said, all right, let's run through it. I'm going to do this. And he did it. And he said, you know what? I appreciate you doing that. Here's this. Same thing, like the same situation with Compound sending Tevington the hat and Tevington not expecting to receive the lighter, but then getting the hat and the lighter. Like, oh shit, it's a double up. It's the same thing. Thread guy got the hat and the lighter, which is now in the form of like
And that's a
$60,000.
damn problem. You know what I mean? Like, since when does that become an issue, bro? Like, this is pathetic, dude. This is what we've all been screaming for. This is what we want in Web3, right? This is what we want to see people succeed and win, the ones that actually deserve it. But then it happens and everybody wants to cry and make an issue out of it. That's stupid.
I think the ones who crying are making the issue are the ones who came to this sector looking to make gains from potentially being grifters themselves, jumping from project to project to project, trying to grind out to get whitelists, trying to get early mints to sell at a higher price. And now the game is no longer that. DeFi summer is now over. I'm classifying it as PFP winter is now over. And people have no idea what to do besides look at the people who are being innovative and doing new things to change everything up and pointing the finger at them saying, "No, not him. That's some bullshit." That's all this is.
You're absolutely
Yeah, y'all are right. Rupsy spitting bars too. Um, yeah, people just don't want to see others win, right? But you're right. This is exactly we've been over here bitching about all these people that have grifted the space for hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions, bro. There was just like a month ago, or 2 months ago, there was a dude that was having people send shit to his wallet, millions of dollars. And finally, someone who actually provides some value to the space gets 60K to help him make it through the next year of living in LA. And people have a problem with it. It's
Hey, did we
crazy,
forget
bro.
about the fake cancer patient that got Web3 for a whole bunch of damn money, right? And now this man is actually flourishing a little bit and there's an issue? Come on, man. We got to do better. Like, we're better than that, right? Like this is crazy. It's heartbreaking to see that.
bro, it makes me feel like buying a fucking ether right now, bro, just to piss people off, bro. Because, yo, this is the thing. People like to fucking fudge shit when people are building, but then they don't do shit. Bro, I had to tell Youngboy today to, like, cool his fucking roll, bro. Like, just pipe down. Because you're complaining that this guy made money. You have a project you abandoned. I'm one of your holders, and you're coming at my mans like that. That's crazy to me. Like, what if I was to come at you because you abandoned the project? I never did that. I just held my art. I got what I got, and we fucking move on. Let's carry the fuck on. This isn't even a thing where anybody made any promises. Nobody said you're getting anything but an ERC 1155 on fucking Zora. And I don't even know what the fuck Zora is.
That man got an opportunity, is what he got. He got an opportunity and he made the best of it. And I praise him for it. And I hope everybody that gets an opportunity does the best that they can with it, man. I don't give a damn. He deserves it, man. Good for him.
All facts. All facts. But it's not an opportunity he just got. Homie literally grinded for this. And again, he went to his people and said, yo, I can help with this. Let me help with this. Put me in a position to help with this. I can breathe some fresh air into it. I can give it a new life, revitalize the community, and have people rooting for us again. And got nothing. And he said, you know what? All right, going over here. And took off. So I agree with you, man. Like, it's hard work that should be paid for, and now it is, man. Like, salute to the homie. He's a good dude. I talked to him in Vegas, and I told him that to his face. Like, regardless if you win this Ape DAO or not, you've already won because you've created a great opportunity for you to be more visible across the space. There's going to be another opportunity that's going to come, and it's going to work out for you if this one does not work. Don't be down about it. I was like, you got to stick to your guns. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the damn thing. Keep it going. And I told him right then and there, like, I'm going to go ahead and congratulate you now because you've already won. And a couple of weeks later, look at where we are, man. Homie winning. You got to salute that.
Hey, bro, real quick, have y'all seen my PFP lately? God damn, that bitch bad, Look at him. Look at him. Hey, he a sexy motherfucker.
Yo, Rainbow Grills unite. Mine just look a little different, but we're both rainbow grilled. What up, Shadow?
Oh yeah, just I was off today just waiting for my wife to get off work, so I was doing some chores and spent about 3 hours writing up a another Twitter thread. Man, I think for some reason Animus, I know that's the next big thing, but Animus is continuously drawing me in. This next Twitter thread is going to be about comparisons on what made Pokemon so great. And it was actually very interesting to me to just learn where Pokemon started. Because I mean, I was a part of the journey, but I was a kid. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And where Pokemon's at now. And there's like really three or four things that really made Pokemon amazing. And a lot of people say, oh, like Pokemon, like Pokemon. Pokemon gets a lot of comparisons in Web3. But like no joke, this anime shit, man, like we know barely little to nothing, but I can get a sense of our creators and their ambition. And I'm finding all these little small things here and there. Um, like the planets and stuff, and finding little FAQs talking about going on an adventure with your animus. And I'm comparing what they're trying to deliver with what Pokemon started off delivering. And it's not 100% like, oh, we're gonna knock it out of the park, but it is like, if they do what they say they're going to do, and I put that in the thread, I believe it could definitely be the Web3 Pokemon. Not a Pokemon, but it can capture that lightning in the bottle. So when that thread comes out, I'm gonna refine it a little bit more, but it's gonna be a mega thread. I did 2 light threads, so this is another mega thread again. So I hope it sparks some conversations, because honestly, man, like the more and more I read into this, I'm like, they could do it, bro. It's in their court right now. It's if they want it, they can have it.
Here's the conversation I want to go on. This one is does making these kind of comparisons hurt us, or is it good for us? Like trying to compare something that we don't know enough about to a Pokemon, getting our hopes up in a sense when it could be something completely different. Is that hurting? Is that good for my mental health? Like in a sense, do you know what I'm saying? Is it
Yeah, we don't want a monolith to this thing. You know what I mean? Like
no?
get ahead of, like, get over your skis on it, dude, and
Yeah,
like just fucking expect some craziness.
exactly. But also it could be better, or it could be different, can be completely different. I guess the only things in our life that we have to that's what humans do. As humans, we try to relate things that are unknown to things that we know. Like, I don't have enough information, this is it like this, or could it be like this? We relate, right? But there could be a scenario where it's better and completely different, and we could be hoping for Pokemon and be upset because it's different, but it could be better. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, it can 100, and I'm glad that you said that. It can 100% be better. And the reason why is just uh like, okay, well, let me choose my words wisely, because I know a lot of people, probably just rolled their eyes to that. Pokemon, where they're at from where they started, um, it's an amazing company that really caught lightning in a bottle. Like, I'm using that term because that's literally what they did. And just to give you all kind of a sneak peek, and you can kind of go read it for yourself, they started off wanting, their goal was to create a product that would start with kids and grow with them as the kids grew. Like, that was a part of their original plan. So think about that. They back in the 90s when Pokemon, or early 2000s for us, when Pokemon was coming out, their goal was, hey, these kids, how can we create something of a kid who's on a journey and it lasts for multiple years and they can watch that journey and grow with the product, right? Uh, with them saying that they want to be like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and just the art talent that we have, the brought on talent from Into the Spider-Verse, DreamWorks, all the little tidbits here and there, definitely the clones being in a form of mentor slash trainer slash buddy or whatever. These things are definitely meant to go on a journey with you. And as I was reading everything that Pokemon did that made them great, not only game wise, but story wise and lore wise, and having, excuse me, having creatures that people of all ages vibed with, right? Adults vibe with Pikachu, kids vibe with Pikachu. Um, the thing that was really getting me excited, and the reason why I've been so excited is because Artifact literally has everything at their disposal. They have the backing of a major studio. They have all the talent in house. This whole like 20K, 40K thing, the only thing that I'm hoping, I'm not really trying to hype people up. Here's what I'm really trying to do with my threads. I'm trying to help people understand to think bigger about Animus and not just a PFP project with 3D animals. Because I feel like if we are expecting a PFP project with 3D animals that are just PFPs, then yeah, you don't want 40K, you want 20K, you're trying to watch the flip. I think there's going to be so many different and if I'm wrong, I mean, I'll come out and say, hey guys, I was wrong. Like I was hyping it up way too much. Like I'll be the first one to say that because that's the type of person I am. But I honestly believe the way that Artifact does things, they like to do things out of the box. And if you read through all this stuff, they talk about how they want to change the way like rating works with this. They want this to be a long-term big thing. They don't want to just come out with just some PFP project. So yeah.
We started off the conversation with this actually, how PFP projects just aren't going to cut it no more. PFP mints and that being the utility just being a community token, you're a part of the community, that like that's not going to cut it going through a bear market. And maybe they kind of sensed that. So maybe when Animus was coming around, they knew. I mean, anybody who's in this space knows that we have to evolve past PFPs. Like this cannot be the ultimate utility. All right, you got a PFP on Twitter. All right, well, Twitter just went bankrupt. Now what? Now what do I got? Right? Or it's just anything like that. So, um, I think I think that they're moving in the right direction,
But
creating something outside of just a PFP. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I will say, and don't get me wrong, like I will hype up Artifact and talk about Animus all day. But I do want to bring up a spotlight on the conversations that we were seeing and kind of like the bad take today, because Baron, he was actually bringing up some legit stuff. And for me, it didn't really click for me until he was like kind of laying it out. We do have, I know that they just kind of went through their checklist, their Santa Claus checklist, and everybody's getting their stuff now. Except for I think we're still waiting on some season one stuff. I will be honest with you guys, I still don't really fully understand what that's about, but I do see you guys talking about that quite a bit. Um, with the Monolith X or Monolith, I know there was an issue with combining vials and things of that nature, right? And it has still been not available for 8 months. So when I come up here and I'm like super excited about Animus, I'm not blind to my own project that I'm a part of faults, because every project still has faults. And I'm just basically baselining it as it is something that they probably at this point in time, they probably, because it was their one of their earlier things that they released right after clones, and it was probably something that came out and it had that glitch and it was messed up. But at this point in time, they've probably integrated it with so many other future things that we don't recognize yet because we just don't know what they are. And they are going to have a place in the space, but an update potentially on just maybe even a forecast on some of the things that are, in my opinion, I would have to classify it as broken because it is kind of broken. Uh, I just wanted to say, Baron, I was reading the comments today and I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, because when I bought my monolith, the first question I asked is, yo, how do I combine this together? Because I watched the video and the video was like, oh, you put the vial in this and da 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 da. But it's not, other than on the shoe or if you're about to buy a shoe that's already combined, it's not immediate in your face to newcomers that, hey, if you buy this product, it's currently on pause right now even though it is available. That, and I will say, needs to be addressed. That, as of right now, is my only like, I wish there was a little bit more kind of. I know on the roadmap on the website right now, it says Animus, and then I think it is the Monolith One and then the Monolith X, if I'm not mistaken. So it was
Um,
up.
you want me to explain what the problem is?
Yes, please.
It's not an issue with the artifact side equipping and unequipping. It's an OpenSea issue. It's OpenSea speed that they update metadata. You have to request a metadata update on OpenSea. So what was happening was people were unequipping and selling, but on OpenSea doesn't automatically update metadata. You have to actually press the request button. It still shows a picture of an equipped shoe when in reality on the blockchain it's already been unequipped. So it wasn't an artifact issue. It's just the fact that the secondary markets aren't up to speed with the technology that they're putting out. So what they've done is they've disabled it for right now, probably as they build out their own marketplace or they build out or OpenSea maybe catches up with like the speed of updating metadata. It is an issue, right? But it's not something that you go to Artifact and say, hey, you have an issue with this. It's more so like these secondary markets don't scrape the metadata like every millisecond or every second. It's not automatic. So
It,
that's kind
and
of
so
the but you're right, it needs to at least maybe have like footnote on the listing maybe or something like that. If I'll go check. It may actually already have that. I think I thought I saw this.
Yeah, they
yeah,
had that when it first started
Yeah.
happening. But at the same time, to that point, right? Like, it's certain things that no matter how much we want or scream about, or even they may want to communicate about, the red tape that comes along with having this type of acquisition with this brand, if you sit and think about it, it makes sense. All things can't be discussed. All things can't be spoken about. And it sucks because that in turn means that all things can't be updated. And that's what I was speaking about when I said you have to have the conviction with this situation, this brand, this project, right? Like, we all came into this, well, I can't speak in those definite, but certain people came into this understanding what we were going to get into. This project was always led with under promising and over delivering. It's been trust that has been broken along the journey of this relationship. So I can understand why people aren't necessarily sitting around comfortably waiting while they are under promising. But again, if you pay attention to the morals that were instilled in building this brand from the ground up, it always came with over delivering. And it's hard to tell somebody to go back and just trust me, just wait.
yeah.
It'll come. And then people actually flow with that. I get that too. But I think that's where we are now. And that's where the restlessness stems from, is that initial missing or that initial trust that a lot of people don't necessarily have anymore. So, yeah,
And,
man, it's things coming. You got to be prepared for them. And just, conviction is key.
but I do want to jump into that though. So, although I do hear what you guys are saying, and thank you, Compound, for that explanation. for that explanation. But I would say this, and I agree with you, Dre Millie. We level-headed people who understand and who will do the due diligence to learn about what's going on, understand. But if it's not well known what is going on and someone goes and buys it and then they have to go and do research of why it's not working, that in my opinion is not good. Now, that is just my opinion. Not saying that is their fault, because it's not. It sounds like, and this is my second part of why I don't believe Animus is just going to be a PFP project. It sounds to me like the artifact was so innovative, they out innovated what is currently available as far as it goes tool wise of what can be. You created something that was an amazing idea, but the tools that we have at our disposal is not fast enough to keep up. So you have to put it on pause to either reinvent the wheel or wait till our tools become more advanced. Only thing that I ask is this, to stop future backlash, because if Animus drops next week or next month or whatever, and more attention goes back towards us, we already know whatever it can be used against us as a community. If it is not well known why it is that way, it will be used against us. So the only thing that I ask, and hopefully it comes with the web update, I just ask that it be just well known, like very well known. If there is a way to add hey, you're about to buy a Monolith X, just so you know, this is coming soon. Get ready for crazy evolve of the shoes and vials and all this craziness. Like, if they can have some fun with it, add in the advertisement, all that good stuff. But it needs to be well known that it is coming soon, even though it has already been out already. Because I truly believe that it is whatever Monolith was going to be, it is still going to be that, but now it's probably going to be even more than that, because this team doesn't just sit on their hands and feet and just like, oh, well, we'll just wait and we'll release the same thing, the same idea from 2021. That's not what they're going to do. They've probably already been evolving and thinking of, oh, what if we add this to Animus? What if we add this to this other project that they don't even know is coming out their way, but it is coming out their way? We can integrate this with all this other stuff. They're still planning and, doing all this stuff in the background. All I was saying was that it needs to be very well known that, hey, this is not ready yet and is coming soon after Animus, because now we know what's coming next. Animus is coming next. So I had a friend in my other group. He was like, oh, I'm gonna stack up a Monolith X. You can, but according to this coming soon, if we're going in order, Animus is up next. So, yeah, that's all I was saying. Whoever wants to go can go.
Your friend, I think, has the right thing in mind, right? This is what I learned from Pump. The incredible Pumpisha taught me that, when things are looking over here, everybody jumping after this, I'm stocking up on this over here, because it's going to come a time where it's going to have its own play. So this is the time to grab it now. I watched him do that multiple times with the CIRLs, and him and Compound do it with the Air Force Ones. Everybody was talking about, I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. Something else totally different. But they were over there stacking up kicks. And I'm like, damn, maybe I should do that too. And I was like, nah, I'll wait on it. And didn't buy my extra kicks until they dropped the lookbook. And by that time, it was already kicking my ass, pun intended. So, yes, your friend is doing it the right way. To get the Monolith X at this time, with us knowing that Animus is coming up, that would be a great play. And everything that you're saying, you're on point with as well, because they did state that themselves, that they like to build so far in advance that the technology isn't even here to execute what they're building. And then when the technology catches up, they execute and they're already moving on to the next thing. They're playing chess 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves ahead when everybody else is playing checkers. Anya, what's good? I haven't heard from you in a long time. What's good?
Hey, sorry, I didn't want to be rude. I think Shadow might have had his hand raised before me, but thank you for welcoming me up. I'll wait until Shadow is done.
Shadow always got his hands up.
Yeah,
I'm sure he doesn't mind.
yeah, my hands always.
Shoot the shot.
shoots it up as soon as he's done every time. It's confusing, I know. And then there's a bell ringing at some point. Like, fuck. All right, Anya, what's up?
No, this is good. I've actually really enjoyed like this conversation and everything that you guys have been kind of chatting about in the group chat and everything. So I appreciate you guys really some good topic points. I did want to kind of speak to what you guys were talking about just a few minutes ago with the whole being ahead of the current technology or what we can do, as holders, as a community, and a project and things. And I think the when it was I think it was back in October, like of 2020, and they had the sneakers. Artifact had the sneakers that sold for 30 ETH, and then in April of 2021 they did a 600 sneaker drop, and that was the thing that sold out in 7 minutes, and they made like around $3 million with it and everything. I can't imagine that there were too many people in there that were like, this was fun, but now we're done, and we don't know what these sneakers are going to be at some point, and maybe didn't understand the significance of what they were doing, what they were holding, and then eventually, each of those sneakers was granted the ability to get 3 clones, and then so on and so forth, and all of these things. So it's and then subsequently, of course, those shoes having the ability to forge into real sneakers and everything, and that was probably so unheard of at the time. And I think we're going to be coming to the point where the things that the team have already put forth are going to become merged with the future tech that they imagined would become reality at some point, and that these specific items will come to fruition, to the full idea or dream of what the founders had planned for those digital items in the first place. And I think right now is that weird limbo that we're in, where it's like the tech is here, or the tech isn't here, and the items are, and soon it will very much intertwine with adapting to the best of the best that we can see in tech, and these assets becoming pretty invaluable for that future technology that we still don't have in our hands yet. Not really. I think there's so many fewer people that have the goggles that can jump into a metaverse or anything like that, and there may come a time where that is a very basic household item to have, like such as a cell phone, is that you got to be immersed in these goggles and be in like VR and all of that. Not saying that will become the point, but it could be. And if that's the case, and that's the future that the founders imagined we would be sliding into at some point, they have certainly equipped us with some really key items as collectors and digital holders, and merging our identities into that world. These items will become pretty substantial for us as holders early on.
I agree. We saw that earlier with the conversation we had with the iPhone selling for damn near $200,000. That's the same vein that I think all of this lives in, including the Apple Vision Pros. I think those, that's a long play. It's like holding long-term stocks, with it being new world technology being introduced to the world. And that's the same vein of which we live in, being a part of the Artifact brand. These components that we are owning and have jumped into, I was going to say aped into, but that would have been like, no pun intended. I guess that would have been dope too, bars. Aped into, I believe will play a role in the future build out of this world. And people just have to have the conviction, the time, and the patience to allow that to happen. It's no different from caterpillar rolling itself into a cocoon to transform into a butterfly. We just are ahead of our time. And these things will play a position in the future as long as you allow it to do so. So no, I appreciate you in your bars. Thank you very much, Anya. Yeah, man, it seems like we keep talking about the same thing. We had the same topics coming up. We're in the spot of evolution in this sector. Is PFP winter shut down, man, and it's going to be about what's actually happening. What are we actually doing and utilizing these PFPs for, this community for, these assets that we are putting so much ETH into? What are we going to utilize it for? It can't just be, yo, look at me, I got this. Look at me, I got a Bored Ape. I'm cool now. And for real, if to talk about that subject, that was one thing that continuously came up while I was in Vegas, and I'll be talking to certain women who were there, and they were like, "Yo, it's like these dudes never was cool before. They got these PFPs, and now they feel like they get this attention, and that's what they do it for. They didn't get this in high school, they didn't get this in college, and now they're getting it, and they're going through this
Nah, Dre,
phase." And
this is the same
I
thing
didn't even
in EDM, bro. Like the guy wearing Pikachu outfit, freaking like nerdy in high school. All of a sudden, he's like shaking hands with everybody, like the weird dude. I swear.
I didn't even think about it from that perspective, but that's exactly what it was, or that's exactly what it is. And now even that is being snatched away from them. Like, damn, when do I have my chance? I was cool when I bought this certain PFP, right? Because I'm a part of this community. And now people are paying attention to me. Now people are discovering me. Now people are giving me the time of day. So I feel good about my life. I feel good about things. Now that's being yoinked away from me too. So it's like, what's next? I gotta move to the next thing to get that back. So yeah, this just giving some more introspective thoughts from the experiences that I had with people in different communities and what they said about it. Baron, what's good? I know you got your hand up, man. I want to go to you before you disappear.
Yo. I appreciate what you guys are saying. I think that when you're trying to gain somebody's trust back, you got to work extra hard and make a concerted effort to address the things that they told you that you were fucking up on before. And when we have we're talking about the same things. Put up something that says blatantly. We spent all this time trying to create good camaraderie and attractiveness, for other people to join this community, and then they go buy a crypto kick and they can't equip it, and they didn't know it. It's just, we're setting ourselves up for failure. We're setting ourselves up for it's not a high class experience at this point. And I would just think that there's those little things that we all know exist out there that if we just called a spade and said there's an issue with them and blatantly put it out there, we're not hiding from anything. The price is what it is. It's not going to go much lower. Now's the time to own up to it, right? This thing's fucked, right? This thing's messed up. It will get addressed in the future. So that arms the rest of the community to say, yeah, they already talked about it. We know it's screwed up. We were ahead of our time. But instead, we're like, yeah, they're working on it. They're working
Bro,
on it. Work in progress.
remember when I got
We
super
have the
tilted?
ability to arm us with some information that just addresses those topics that we've all talked about, and it's not going to break red tape. Red tape being broken is selling an asset that's broken. That shows a video of it working, and then you sell it to the public. That's red tape issue right there, brother. So it's hard for me to watch. I have passion about this project. I have passion about the people here, and I'm sick. I don't want to watch any more people buy artifact stuff that doesn't work or that isn't what they thought it was going to be. And I know I'm being a little emphatic. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on, but we are arming the people. If there a public mint or not. Like, I know there's red tape around that, but there's got to be something you can tell people so that every fucking clone out there that has an egg isn't have to answer the question of why do you own an egg. It's like they're going to do another public mint. It's like, why can't you guys sit down with the attorneys and figure out what you can say to us? Why can't you say that? Because if you all lose us, it's like, then what else is here? Because you're not living on the revenues from this project anymore. That's all I got for right now. That's why I'm fired up about it, because I care.
No,
Bro,
that's a
you're
good take,
absolutely
man.
right. You're right, because when I started getting pissed off about the creator shit, because remember, like, there was supposed to be like a artifact DAO or whatever. That didn't happen because of the Nike purchase or whatever. But I bought into the creator revolution. I didn't buy into fucking guessing games and shit like that. You know, the mint vowels are very clear. The discs, the shoes, all that shit was super clear. And you're right, Baron. They have to keep that clarity because otherwise, it isn't a high class experience. And I'm looking at this Rimowa bag, and this is luxury, bro. The experience has to be luxurious. And if you're not upset and you don't get us all riled up, then how the fuck do they know what's going on? To be honest.
Yo, want to touch up with what Dre said with the goggles? Who's saving up for 2 goggles or 3 goggles? Put that shit on the side. Put that in the closet. You know what I mean? Like you use one and you put one in the closet. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Tevi, stop it, man. You be
Tevi, you can
wild.
use my
Relax, bro.
ones.
I'm,
I'll put
I'm
a nice
definitely saving
sticker
up
on it
for
you.
multiple. I'm definitely gunning at multiple. But no, I don't want to skip over Barrett's point because I agree with him and some of the points that he made. I think what you said was starting off that take was absolutely correct. When you lose trust in a relationship, any type of relationship it may be, whether romantic, friendly, business relationship, whatever, you have to work hard to build that relationship and the trust back into that relationship. I agree with that 110%. I personally feel like that's what this is. Us being able to even have these conversations to vent how we feel, what we're thinking, or what we're expecting, either way, on both sides of the coin, is allowing to get that voice of reason out there, get those comments out there to build more understanding in order to construct the trust that's needed for this relationship to blossom and flourish. So no, I agree with you 110%. And yeah, it's still stuff that's slacking. We all know, right? We coming across these shipping issues. Tevington still hasn't gotten his stuff before he's going to the Philippines or wherever he's going. And I know he's feeling some type of way about that, right? But I know for sure that they are tapped in to even these conversations that we're having right now. I'm sure that there's going to be a review of this dialogue that we are having back and forth at this specific moment. And that's going to be able to add more information on their side for them to gain a better understanding of the current sentiment of the community. And that's the part that helps build up the
that's
trust.
the fire part. Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah.
That's why I'm bringing this up. It's like, because if I'm in a relationship with somebody and I don't tell them where I'm at, it's like they think they're good. And then I just snap. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're out of the house. I'm done. So I don't want that to happen. I just, man, that Murakami pill thing, it gets me. That was for the community, man. And it's late. And there's nothing been talked about on it. Like, well, I mean, that's mind, Dre. Dude, it was supposed to be June. And nothing has come out. That's for the community. They're the ones that came up with the idea. And now it's like red tape. Well, then don't bring it up in the first place. You never had to.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
And it's just like there's so many it's hard. It's like I know the team's doing the best they can. I know everybody's doing the best they can, but some little things I feel like, and again, we're back to communication. Why can't we communicate a delay? Because we're afraid of what people might say to us on the timeline. Like the timeline's screwed up anyways. They're going to say what they're going to say, whether it's good or bad, right? We just said they're going to FUD it, even if it's good. We'll know it's good. So tell us what's going on. You're talking to us. You're not talking to people that are here to FUD because they're not going to buy the stuff anyways. So
listen, we could just psyop them. If the announcement doesn't go well, it's just like some people in a group chat I was in started fudding the Rimowa thing, and I needed more bags. So I just started fudding myself. Simple.
I never agree with Kuro's tactics, for the record. I never agree with Kuro's tactics. That works for Kuro, man, but Kuro's not like everybody else. I agree with you, Baron. I agree with you with the point you made about just don't even say anything at all if we can't get consistent updates and effective communication about the updates that you created initially. I get that, and I agree because it does just open up the remnants of the wound that was placed there about having that initial trust issue to begin with, right? It's like, you know, if your wife cheated on you and then she says she's going out with a girl, you're like, you really going out with your girls, or you going out with that motherfucker kid? You know what I'm saying? Like, it builds up them old wounds. So I agree
Yeah,
with you.
it takes a lot of time for her to go out with her girlfriends and then come home, and then she goes out. It's like it's going to take like 6 times, and so when you call her and it's like she's not where she's supposed to be, or like she was going to call you and check in and then she doesn't.
Yeah.
She gets home, it's like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's what we're at. I mean, it's like we have to over communicate, and red tape only gets me so far. I'm telling you, Nike has to communicate with their people at least in some point in time.
I agree with that. I mean, you make a valid points, man. For real.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing, for real, because like I said, this communication, this open communication, is the fuel to the fire to spark and initiate the change. I will say about the Murakami Peel, I know that they're working on it. I know that it should be an update, and I agree with you on that. But I can say I know that they're working on it, actively working on trying to get things together for and with the community to execute on that. So it's just, for real, from my perspective, I feel like it's like when you have essentially a startup. You building a startup from the ground up, and you are overwhelmed with so much stuff happening at the same time, right? Like, just like that example you just gave, that analogy, the girlfriend forgetting to call and check in when she said she was. Maybe she really was just overwhelmed with whatever it was that was happening, that she really honestly forgot. But the scars and the wound is still open for you to be like, yo, it only takes a second to check in. Essentially, what you're saying, yo, it only takes a second to give a update. But when you are honestly that overwhelmed with the current moment, it can slip your mind. So with that being said, I'm sure will be some notes taken. I'm sure will be some reviews happening, but even from this discussion, and I'm sure that will spark the change that we are looking for to receive that update that everybody is speaking about, that they want to hear. So we doing it. We building it brick by brick, man. It's just a journey.
That's right. That's right. I'm just trying to keep ammunition out of the hands of others, and I'm trying to make sure that the new people, that new clones and new people that are discovering Artifact have the best experience possible. And I know that everybody wants that. Everybody in this room right here and on the team and everything. So these are just ways to accomplish that goal.
Baron, it also, you're trying to keep ammunition out of others' hands, but it also, on the other hand, I would like the ammunition in our hands, right? Because when I have these conversations, I would love to have clear, concise answers, because I, as an advocate of the project, and we all are, right? We're all rocking the PFPs. We like the project. We love the project. When we got information, when we are overloaded, like we got a lot of information or we have answers, we can confidently go into conversations and talk about what we're passionate about, right? But it's hard to go into some conversations. You hear us in here talking about animus, or you hear us talking about specific things that don't have full details and answers yet. It's really difficult to educate somebody on such things. So yeah, we want to keep the FUD ammunition out of others' hands, but on the inverse, we put some
I mean, we
ammunition.
need to be armed. I mean, it was like a guy this morning who was like, "Where's the MK MF?" Yeah, like cursing in his tweet, like, "Where's that MF or MK drip gear artifact?" And like immediately, I just responded to him. I said, "It's on time," because we had a conversation last night about it, and that's exactly what Comp's talking about. That's what I'm here for, because I want to feel like we're so into this thing. I want to be able to go fight the good fight in the trenches. Get these people straight.
I keep saying I just want to be a billboard. There's a reason for that, right? So, been listening for a while. I think one of the biggest utility of Bad Take is,
That's all I got.
thank you, Baron. Some
I don't think Baron can hear you, Tevington, but go ahead.
Oh, maybe I'm rugged. Should I step down and come back? Can you guys hear me or no?
I can hear you. We can hear you. I don't think he can hear you.
Yeah, no. So I was saying, like, the one of the best utilities of Bad Take is I see no drama on my timeline. So that's why I have that hoodie up, and I have those piercing blue eyes on my demon, who just burn through all the FUD. But then I come to Bad Take, and you guys kind of catch me up on all the nonsense that's going out there for people living in Dream World. Like, I don't understand, and I'm not going to rehash the whole conversation, but you should be allowed to make a living. You should be allowed to profit from your hard work. That's point number one. Point number two, earlier we were talking about what worked in the past versus where we're going, and I pinned at the top a little while ago the tweet by Benoit, who's basically said, think bigger than Web3. Like, learn to innovate and adapt, because if you don't, basically you die. And what worked in 2021, 2022, 2020 ain't going to cut it moving forward. That's why you see, just every project that's making moves, just doing something different. That world merging tech, honestly, if you've ever connected if you are lucky enough to have anything that Artifact has dropped and you've gone through the whole Lincoln experience, that is one hell of an experience. It's pretty cool. Like, I don't care what you say, that in itself is amazing, right? So, and I appreciate everything that was said tonight, because I agree. Like, it's not all roses, right? Like, there's definitely things that have to be addressed. And, I'll speak for myself. I think Dre touched on it, but yeah, I'm still waiting on my season 1 gear. But I'm not upset. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not upset because it's delayed. I'm upset because I want to rock this, and I want to be able to talk about it, and I want to review it, and I want to talk about how amazing it is. But I cannot do that. And that is frustrating. And then you have people on the timeline or wherever else just talking nonsense. And you can't even go and say, but look at this or whatever, right? Because it's just not there. And that is, and we all know why. We all get the storyline behind it and all that stuff. But it would be good, I think, to Baron's point, it would be good to have because that's what I do, right? I love to go back, find the tweets, find the whatever, point to the hard data, because that cuts out all the nonsense. It's like you can't argue with facts. And so when I can't do that, it's really hard to even want to try to keep promoting it, right? It's like, but when you have a tweet like the one from Benoit up there, it's really easy to point to. When you have the FAQs telling you this is what's going on with Animus or with whatever else, it's really easy to point to that. So I think if nothing else, the ask really is, if there's a delay, just say there's a delay. If there's whatever it is, like, provide that update. I think it goes a long way. When we had um, the what is it called, the forging for Rimowa, and it was extended. They came out and said it's been extended and this and that, and that was amazing, right? So it's the little things that make a huge difference at the end of the day. But to the point ultimately of what's being built here, in my opinion, and I think Anya put it in the most beautiful way I think you could express it, is kind of going back to the origins. And every piece has a purpose in the ecosystem. And just because you can't see it today or understand it or don't have the full vision doesn't mean that it's not being built. Because we've seen what a pigeon turned into, and we're now seeing all of these assets being game ready and all these different things, and all that entire ecosystem is being built and linked together. And if you go back and you listen to, and I know that not everybody has time to do that, right? But I think I was tweeting the other day that I went back and listened to the Yarlin space. I love that Twitter space there, because there's so much focus on the infrastructure and the why behind things, that if you take the time and listen, the future can be built overnight, right? And it takes time to put all those pieces together, and making that shift from a small startup, full on digital, to now having the physical element to it, and taking it a step further and trying to link the two in a nice, seamless way. That is not something that you want to rush, like, especially after everything that has happened, right? So to steal a thing from from Azuki, it's you got to TTP. Yeah, you got to trust the process, right? Like there's a reason why all this stuff is taking the time that it's taken. And I know that I'm to some extent preaching to the choir here, but when it hits, and it will, when it hits, it's gonna be like nothing we've, and this is not even copium or hopium or whatever. It's just gonna be facts. Like when this hits, it's gonna be on a whole different level that we haven't seen before. That is why, at the end of the day, it's taking the time that it's taken because it hasn't been done, right? So I don't know. I've really enjoyed the conversation tonight. I've been doing a lot more listening than talking, but yeah, I love that everything that's been said tonight, like both sides, and the concerns raised and the why, and more importantly, like the why behind it, and ultimately where we're going. I think it's I love the fact that we're all on this journey together. um and it's not, yeah, like floor price, all that stuff matters, but ultimately it's what's being built behind all of these PFPs that we're rocking. That's the true value of all this, and that's intellectual value. It's people value. It's you have a front row to what the future looks like, and that cannot be overstated. So that's where I'm at. But
Tevin,
yes, yes, sir.
I just gotta say, dude, I'm always super impressed how you could listen to like 2 hours of conversation and then have replies for every topic point for the last 2 hours. Because my brain can't remember the last 15 minutes. No, I'm just playing. The point you made a point. You made a point, bro. Wanting to have the ammunition or information regarding kind of what's going on, so that when you see stuff on the timeline, maybe FUD or questions on the timeline, that you are inclined to answer it and you have that hard data backing it up. Uh, I get that, and that's where I want to agree with you, bro. Is that I would love that too. Maybe I'm gonna actually end this space at 9 because it's been so good. I want it to be listen backable, so they could just quickly run back through it and listen to a lot of the point. Baron made some fire points. Dre's been killing it tonight. Subscribe, Tevi. Everybody's had some great points, and I want some of these things to be able. I don't want a 5 hour space that is really intimidating to go back and listen through, because I want these things to be heard by the team. So I want to go to Kuro, and then we'll jump back over to Shadow. Kuro, my dude.
Yo, so a couple points. Point number one, they should have a monthly update where they get Dre to read out stuff, because nobody's gonna read it, and his voice is settling. So, people won't have that panic attack like when I used to go into Twitter spaces and read fucking announcements. I used to panic. So we don't need any more of that shit. Uh, Point number two, definitely trust the process. That is like, imagine if I like started freaking out because my Ramoa bag fucking like that doesn't even make any sense. Like even with the clothing stuff, I didn't even like. I knew I ordered the wrong stuff, but I knew I was going to make money because I knew what I was getting. Right? That's like a huge point. Is like, if you know what you're getting, you're not going to be like unsettled because it hasn't come in a couple months. And then the last third point is the whole idea of a rising tide raises all ships. It's kind of literal, right? Because like right now we're seeing the OPEPN proliferation inside of fucking like businesses are talking about changing their PFPs to an OPEPN. That's a PFP, right? Like a profile picture. Like, could you imagine? Like, just like OpenSea changing their PFP. What's the other one? Rarible. I don't even know. Like all of the businesses that are in Web3 that changed their PFP to one of those. It just kind of helps all of us because, they got like 2 million followers on OKX talking about they're changing their PFP. Normal people that only are concerned with buying and selling cryptocurrency are like they have no interest in PFPs. They're not buying PFPs. There's like a demographic of people that buy PFPs. And now you have people that are outside of that demographic, deep in like the Bitcoin culture and stuff, like browsing OpenSea. And when they go to OpenSea, there should be like, Artifact, Azuki, fucking Bored Ape Yacht Club, fucking Mutant Ape Yacht Club, like all this shit should have custom fucking OpenSea pages, all of them, with all the fucking information. This is a marketplace problem at the same time, right? Like, when you go to the marketplace, you don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm trying to find a fucking ether. I don't know what the fuck is this shit's about. I just know it looks cool. I might or might not like it. I'm not like totally sure yet because I don't know what's going on. It's the same thing with, it's like a consistent problem across every fucking project is communication and the way that fucking information is disseminated. I'm not going to read this shit, man. I see more than one paragraph. I'm like, cool. I'm sorry that happened to you, or I'm happy for you. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'd rather Dre read it out, to be honest.
Nah, man, drop me a 5-page FAQ. I don't care. Give me all that information. I will read it. I think that is the problem today. People don't want to read. People don't want to do their research. So I'm gonna just straight up disagree with Kuro. But actually, you came up with a good solution, which is have Dre read it. Hell, I'll read it to you. Like, I'm all for that. Like, Shadow and I will create videos and threads, and we'll feed you. I'll spoon feed you that information. I personally, I like data. I like information. So give me all the information that you can legally provide, and we'll be good to go.
But like, look at the way that you have to get the information. You got to go to another website, and the website you already don't even want to be on, and then like you have to try. Like, the best part of the Artifact website right now is the whole like creator section. It's so perfect. It's just organized well. There's headings. There's a table of contents. Like, give me that shit all day. I'll read that. But
Yeah,
like, when I have to try and figure out what's going on, bro, you guys have known me long enough to know.
nah,
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I hear you. And honestly, and I know Compound is like, I just want to close this space. It has to be easy to listen back to. But here's what I will say. I change management takes time. I keep going back to this specific line that I keep telling everybody, right? Is it for you to turn around and make some meaningful changes in any kind of corporations, whatever it might be, and implement something that's sustainable, and it takes at least a year to make that shift, change mindsets, and get people on board and move along with it. So 2023, if you want to level set your expectations, it's a redemption year, it's an adjustment year, it's a transitional year, and that's what it is. I think the quicker people accept that, and I speak for myself included, and kind of get it with the program, right? The easier it'll be. And that's why, you can't get but I think still provide the feedback. That's important, right? I think they have to hear it to continue to move in the direction that, as Dre was putting it earlier in Compound 2, they have to hear this information so that they can know that they're on the right track with some of the stuff that they're probably working on, and when they do come out and speak, it's everything is on point, right? So again, I would say, 2023 transitional year. It's fine, it is what it is, but when we kick off the Animus arc, things have to be on point, because you've had plenty of time, plenty of feedback, and people are going to want to feel listened to, and like what they receive, to Baron's point, has to feel luxurious. It has to be on point. It has to feel, established, given the caliber of the brands and collaborations that they're putting out there. There is a certain expectations that comes with it. And that's what we all want to see, not necessarily for us, because we're already bought in, we're here, we're going to ride or die. It doesn't really matter, as long as the longer vision is executed on. It's more for the new people who are coming in, don't have the whole history, or they have a biased uh, history on the timeline, and that's really what they see. It's when they come in, you want those people to have the best experience possible, so that they can see, through that, get to a space like this. And really, it's just, and when we just grow as a unit, right? So I'm at the end of the day, and I'm just going to end on that note. Like, I don't think that there is anyone who's out innovating Artifact today, and for the foreseeable future. And that's why I'm here, because I want that front row seat to the innovation that they're bringing. And that's what it is. I could care less if this drops to 50.5 ETH or zero point 0.1 ETH. I've already accepted that my clone is my identity, and that what I want is the utility behind it, right? Like, I'm not looking to resell this clone or any of that stuff. What I'm building, and that's why I love going full circle to what Thread Guy was doing, knowing nothing but what was communicated in this space. He built his own brand, which is making him valuable, and that's why he's ripping the rewards today. And I think everybody here should be doing the same. Build yourself up in a way that, regardless of what happened with this PFP or not, you can keep it moving. This should augment who you are, not be what you are, right? So that's what I got. So back to you, Comp.
No, I agree with pretty much everything you and Kuro have been dropping. Kuro and you both said very similar things. The amount of money that most of these projects, like the entire space in general, has collected, yeah, they need to be held to a higher standard of communication, updates, everything. Like these projects are collecting millions of dollars. It's a small ask to keep the community and just everybody informed. I understand that there's competition. They can't leak too much because ideas get stolen and there's red tape and all that stuff. But there are a lot of things that everybody could be in the loop about. And I will say, on the point of research that you guys talked about research, my best advice is to just start a Twitter space, and then you never have to do the reading. You have people come up on stage who already did the reading, and then they just tell you what it all said, right? Like Drake could read it to you too. I would love that. Anya Rose would love them reading it, but just be a Twitter space host, and people will come up and tell you all the stuff that you missed. It's really really easy to get alpha this way. That's what I've done. Um, Shadow or subscribe. I don't know who came first, but if you guys fight, the winner, whoever survives, can
I'm
go.
winning, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
All
While
right,
they're
go ahead.
fighting, I'm gonna say one last thing. Sorry, one last thing is, I would really love if we would stop referring to these as projects, because they're no longer that. They are brands now, and they need to act like it, right? That is, at the end of the day, like, this whole project nonsense, like, that's tiny, small leagues, right? Like, we're past that. These are brands. They need to act like bigger brands and provide that. So that is the last of my comments tonight. So sorry, subscribe in Shadow, but I had to put that out there.
Yo, I want to go back to what Tevi said. What if they know we're not gonna be impressed? Like, what if like you said, like, we know we're gonna be impressed, but what if they know we're not gonna be impressed? So, like, meaning, what if they don't have the manpower or like the talent? Maybe they're looking for the right talent and they have like an idea, but they need the correct talent to do what their idea is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Because everything is changing. Like, so much things that has happened lately, and they got all these new ideas, but they don't have the right talent to make the idea. So they're looking for the right people to bring in. You know what I mean? Yo, but the place is moving fast. You gotta say, and there's so much things that have changed, and they need to change too. And maybe they couldn't make the change fast enough, so they have to extend it a little bit and be like, okay, we need to bring the right people. We need to you know, we need to bring out the product properly to the people, right?
All right, man. Subscribe. I let you go first, bro. But you brought the other subscribe, man. What happened to the earlier subscribe? No, I personally, and I just be devil's advocate. Nobody's right or wrong. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. But I believe it's the total opposite. I believe, like we've already talked about, they have out innovated the tools that we have available. And when it comes to in-house, when you're hiring people from Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse and DreamWorks and top level animators, things of that nature. I mean, and let me be honest, these are things that I am hearing from the community. And I'm sure they have sources and people that are trustworthy that they're telling them this is what's going on. Now, I can be completely wrong, but from what I'm hearing, we are onboarding top level talent. We already have two out of the three founders and creators that already have a background in creating skins, video games, animation, all that good stuff. One of them, he was one of the lead people with the CS:GO knife skins that pretty much created their own culture. And then on top of all that, we already have Takashi Murakami. So we have a lot of talent on board. We can say that is a possibility. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Um, what I more or less, before I would go to that avenue of thinking, if I am wrong, before I would say what you're saying is correct, I would say if I'm wrong and they're not innovating and they're not doing all this stuff, then I would go before that. I would say they're probably just waiting for the right time to launch certain things. I would hate for that to be the case. If they're going to launch Monolith the same way that it was, they're just waiting for a certain market beat or a certain, maybe for the market sentiment to change. They don't want to, if you only got 3 bullets in the barrel, you're not going to shoot them all off during the bear market. And then what are you doing during the bull market? You're just building. You're supposed to be building during the bear market. That's my take.
Yo, just look what's on the pipeline. We got Animus coming in. They
Hmm.
announced in the video partnering up with them. They
Hmm.
are looking for talents to apply to this Animus thing. You think about AI, maybe they're like, "Oh crap, we can do that. Maybe you should try that out." Like
Well,
I
then
think they're bringing in
that's
talents, man.
that's when you get into, what is that? Star Citizen. Star Citizen. I'm going into deep gaming. I'll make this super quick. Star Citizen is a game that has been in development for God knows how long. And the whole objective is to be a MMORPG unlike any other we've seen before, where you are a Star Citizen, you can command your own fleet, you can they're trying to make think of like Star Wars but without Jedis. You can basically become, the resistance or, whatever you want to be. They're doing some very innovative, super out there shit. But the problem is this: they're so innovative. They create something, and by the time they have storyboarded and okay, let's do that. Let's put this out there. It takes them 2 to 3 years to get that together. By the time they get to the end of that development, what they're trying to do is already an old concept. So then they do another fundraiser. They ask for more money and they say, look, you'll get these ships now if you buy into this fundraiser. They then take that money and then they build onto it. And it's an endless cycle of development hell. There's been multiple YouTube videos about it talking about how the game is trying to be so innovative and so big. They continuously build and build and build, and they just won't release it. If that is what's going on, which I pray and hope is not going on, that is what you just call development hell because there's no end to it. They're perfectionists. that want to have the cutting edge tech, and instead of putting out the cutting edge tech that they've storyboard and planned, they continuously get to the end of the roadmap and they add on more, and then they add on more, then they fix the bugs along the way and add on more, raise more money, then add on more, and everybody's sitting around waiting for the game to come out because they have 20,000 ships and they have nothing to show for. So I really hope that's not the case, but I get what you're saying though.
I'm on the side of Shadow here with the tech catching up. I think they have a lot of talent. I don't think there's a lot of hiring going on in a bear market. I think there's more building. So I think the tech and maybe the timing in general, right? Because you've seen it's really hard to launch anything right now. So timing and tech is where I'm at. But again, I don't know shit about anything. But let's go to Rose. Rose, how are you?
Hello. I had just joined maybe 20 minutes ago, so I'm trying to make sure I catch on to the conversation. I was just going to add in to say that there's like the what, when, and the how, and I feel like the what has been kind of outlined since we already have Animus and other aspects of it. The when, I feel like the timing, that's totally fair because I think within the bear, depending if you're looking to bring in more revenue or if you're just trying to add value to the community. So those are two different paths along the road where the timing is either pretty critical because you're in the bear and you're not going to make much money, or you're going to do something that is going to keep your community holders happy. So I think it's a mix of that based on what they've shown so far. And I was just going to say about the how, just the artifact way. I feel like they are developing like really unique experiences, which just take a lot of time too, and probably to orchestrate. And some of the feedback that we had provided them in different forums was just like, please connect the dots, like the nebulous, mysterious, just give us a little bit is not helping because now their product offering is so vast. Like we don't really know how they all connect or it's alluded to. And then too much time passes. And then we actually don't remember, just like when Shadow had given us the scoop about Animus because he had rewatched everything. We're just like, well, I either totally missed it, didn't catch on, or did but forgot because too much time had passed. So I think when you're trying to build out unique experiences, that's a whole nother level of crafting, whether it's in person and IRL, or IRL with like the online component. So I just feel like the level of orchestration that has to happen to get that going to a level of scale is probably going to be quite profound. Super excited because, we all know that they can do it. I think it's just more of like, please tell us when, especially if there's going to be a global in-person event. I think they had mentioned it's global online, but for anything in person, I know a lot of us would actually make an effort to plan to go if we had enough notice. But if we don't, then we're going to miss out again, or just expend a lot of money to try to make it because we want to be there. But just excited. I listened to everybody who had mentioned, and I'm going to catch the recording too because I think it's a fruitful conversation. It's a gut check, right? It kind of makes you more responsible as a holder to determine, like, are you in it for good, for now, for a little bit longer, to what extent? And if you're not, I feel like we have to make really good, smart decisions for us in terms of what we're going to acquire or what we're going to let go. But again, fun space because there's speculations, conspiracy activity within our community, at least, for during the bear. Because a lot of other communities are much more quiet. But glad to jump in today. I haven't been in for a little bit.
Thank you for sharing, Rose. You always bring a different point of view, like a different look. Something that I wasn't even thinking about, to be honest, you brought up was the IRL events. Like at the minimum, getting some time to plan for those, in my opinion, and I'm fully agreeing with you, is super important. Because in a sense, these if CloneX is an access token and you're able to make these events and you're able to experience the community IRL, I always fully advocate for a person to do so. If you have the financial means or if you can make it, you should do it. And I would hate for someone to miss an IRL event based solely off not enough preparation time. Like that can be fixed, right? Those things can be planned out a little bit further, because I think that a lot of these relationships and a lot of the real, like, we could be on spaces every day for a year, guys, but the amount, like the relationships that you can like solidify IRL is just a whole different experience. And I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to like go to multiple artifact events now. but not everybody has been able to, and I want that experience for everybody. So that right there, I do 100% agree with.
If I could add just real quickly for online or in an IRL event, and either when it's like simultaneous, like there's like a path to get there where you have to pass through certain gates before you can communicate anything. And that is even with like pressure testing, the system, the security, and all that. Like you can't just assume you're going to hit those mile markers. Sometimes internally, at a corporate setting, you have to like make sure that everyone passes through those gates before you can announce anything. So oftentimes for marketing, I always tell people it's like that's like the last 5% of all the work that you see, because everyone behind the scenes has to get it together. Like we cannot have any delays. That's the worst, right? They announce something and then oops, website not so secure. Of course, for Artifact, it's such a top of mind thing for them. But just to share with the Genesis Art Project, we just did a 2-day IRL event simultaneous with an online experience. That was 2 whole months of a real core team like hustling to get it done, and down to the wire. We were just like, are we gonna make it? Like, hope it doesn't go down. And it actually worked beautifully. But just for 2 days, a 2-day event at one location with so much effort internally for a really, really small team. So I can empathize in terms of like the full orchestration that has to happen, like the magic of Artifact. But I can't wait. I can't wait for the potential of IRL and global simultaneous online, whatever it is. I think it's just more like when. So typical. I'm going to end it on when.
You're a planner. You love to know dates. You want to get stuff solidified. It's awesome. Another thing about Web3 is specifically on mints, releases, information outside of the IRL events. The margin for error in Web3 is so small. Like the slightest slip up we've seen, like you've been here for a year, 2 years, no matter what, you've seen mints, you've seen people launch stuff, you've seen airdrops. There's no margin for error. If there's one tiny little fuck up, it's instant FUD, and something that could have been so great and so amazing now is overshadowed by some kind of negativity, right? We've seen it so many times. The amount of pressure that has to put on a team, and I've never planned or organized on the level of these Web3 projects that are launching some of these massive drops and stuff. I've never planned on that level. So the amount of pressure they're probably under, knowing that if there is one slight contract error, there's a timing error, there's anything that could go wrong, could completely ruin the drop, has to be immense. So I understand the need to really dive in and take your time on things, and I do want Artifact, and I do want the projects I'm involved in to take their time dropping things, because I don't want those kind of hiccups. Like that's the last thing I want to deal with. Then to circle back on the communication part, though, there could be updates that give enough information to either plan or make decisions without risking the integrity of the drop or the release as a whole, I believe. So I do want to end this space. It's about 2 hours now. I think Baron, Tevi, Rose, Kuro, Shadow, subscribe, all, and Drace, everybody has put in, Rupsty earlier has put in so much like good feedback, critiques, feedback, like different points of information that I want to cut it now so that it can be re-listened to. If we go for 5 hours, it's intimidating to go back through. I have a screenshot saved where we started to kind of talk and give a little bit of feedback, and I'll go back through it as well. But I appreciate y'all coming through and sharing. Dre, Millie, you got anything for us?
Do I have anything for you? It's been a good one, man. I appreciate all of you guys coming up and actually just giving us your truth, because we need it, right? We want to, the furthest thing we want is a fucking echo chamber. I don't want to be a part of that, because we see how those stories end. And I believe what we are building here as a community is one of the strongest things we have ever seen, ever. And we have the potential to take it to the next level. And that's all I'm aiming to do. So I appreciate y'all showing up every night, being open enough to give us your thoughts, your feelings. And I hope that you guys continue to do so. So thank you. Have a good one. Appreciate you all.
Good night, y'all.